Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. To this day.
Nino Brown Boxing and back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Quick video about the welterweight division, man. So the welterweight division, the current state of the welterweight division has me concerned because it's a lot of talk surrounding 147, but all of the talk is focused around why this shouldn't happen or why this person doesn't deserve this. None of that shit interests me. I'm a boxing fan first before I'm a guy that talks boxing. So I want to get down to the shit that actually matters and what is most likely going to happen based off the way that the landscape of boxing is set up right now. So when it comes to the champions at welterweight, you got Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence, and Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford are at odds because of discussion of a split. You have the promotional aspect of it, the Bob Arum being a portion of it. We get that. We understand that situation. Clearly, that fight is not happening next. Okay. Then you have the Manny Pacquiao part of it. Both Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence have made it known to the world that they want Manny Pacquiao next. Now, I personally don't believe that neither one of these guys are going to get Manny Pacquiao. For the main reason for Crawford is simple. When Manny Pacquiao was at top rank, the shit didn't happen then, and now he's over on the PBC, and it don't look like the shit's going to happen. I don't give a fuck what Bob Arum says about they were almost there, then the pandemic hit. I'll believe it when I see it. But then the same thing goes for Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. The way that the PBC has pushed fights, the way that they've promoted fights, the way that they've set fights up. Prime example, when Danny Garcia got in the ring and said, oh, let's get it on with Errol Spence Jr., guess what? The fight happened. It seemed like they damn near forced Manny Pacquiao to get in the ring in the past, and nothing came of it. So I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen. That aside, that's one fight. Let's say Errol Spence gets the Manny Pacquiao fight. Errol Spence said in a recent tweet that he wants to fight 2 or 3 times in 2021. Now, if he say he wants to make a comeback for the summer, I don't see how 3 times happen, but shit, anything is possible. He can definitely ramp up the volume of fights that he have, or he can get back in the ring earlier than expected. Whatever the case may be, Manny Pacquiao is one fight. So if he has the fight, great. It's a unification bout. I'll pick Spence. Obviously, he has the WBA belt. The shit that I really don't get is Errol Spence. He just fought Danny Garcia. That was a WBC mandatory. Prior to that, he fought Sean Porter, which was a unification bout. It's been over a year since the IBF mandatory hit. And I just looked into it, and it's the guy with the nickname The Punisher, some Russian dude. He's the number 1 ranked guy at the he's the number 1 ranked guy for the IBF. Obviously, a mandatory hasn't been ordered yet, but this guy's a top ranked fighter. And we all know how the IBF is about their mandatories. I just find it interesting that at some point in time, no matter if you're going to Terrence Crawford route or the IBF mandatory route, that across the street shit is going to be eliminated. It's going to be irrelevant. Obviously, Earl's not going to vacate his his IBF belt just to not to deal with Bob Arum. So then you got the number 2 ranked guy in the IBF, and that's Sean Porter. And Sean Porter is once again ranked number 1 by the WBC. So even if the Manny Pacquiao fight happens this summer, or Manny Pacquiao fight for this upcoming summer isn't on the table, the question remains. The options are slim. It's going to be a rematch with Sean Porter, a fight that Errol Spence said he didn't want, or it's going to be fighting the top-ranked fighter, because it's either going to be your IBF mandatory and the Punisher guy, or it's going to be a unification bout with Terrence Crawford. Now, if Earl's in a position where, damn, I gotta face Sean Porter or I gotta face this Punisher guy, he already made it known that he doesn't feel like Sean Porter should deserve the spot to be his mandatory again when he literally just beat him last year. At this point, something got to give. I mean, that is a cost of having the belts. We all know how the IBF rolls when it comes to their mandatories. But I feel like once these mandatories start to get ordered, that's when that unification trumps mandatory talk is going to start to roll into play. And I'm just interested to see how all of this shit rolls out. So my question is, will it be a Sean Porter rematch? Or will it be fighting the top ranked guy? Or will it ultimately just say, fuck it, we'll just do a unification bout? Me, I've set my piece on it all. I said a split when it comes to Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford should be 45, and the winner takes the rest. To me, it keep it simple. And people are talking about, well, Crawford doesn't deserve this, Earl deserves that. Me personally, I don't care about the split. I look at it like this. If Deontay Wilder can have 40 plus consecutive victories, 40 knockouts, 40 plus knockouts, and give Tyson Fury 50-50, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford can make that shit happen 50-50. I understand people want to get all down to it, man. If you're gonna give a fighter any props, you're gonna maintain your loyalty to a guy in a situation when these negotiation type situations, it should be Deontay Wilder. When it came to Anthony Joshua, he heard Anthony Joshua say exactly what he wants. And Deontay Wilder, he wasn't a diva about it. He made the shit happen because he wanted to give the fans the fights. Now, no fault of Wilder, we didn't get to see that fight at that time. AJ and Wilder didn't get to fight. They didn't get to unify before Undisputed. But AJ he said it to the world, give me 50 million. And the PBC, Al Heyman and Wilder, they made that shit happen. And AJ and Eddie Hearn, they reneged. My whole thing when it comes to this is when you're the true king of the division, when you are confident in your abilities, you make shit happen. Deontay Wilder, he showed it with the AJ situation, and then he gave Tyson Fury 50-50. Me, that's how I like fighters to go. If you're the king of the division, you're the top dog. If you as hungry as you say you are, you move like Wilder. To me, Wilder, as the heavyweight champ, he set the example. He set the standard high, and none of these guys are touching it right now. So I say cut all this diva shit out. Get the fans the fight they want to see. Or it's just going to be a bunch of mandatories, and you're going to end up dealing with people that you don't want to deal with anyway. That's just my take on it, guys. It's Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. I'm out.